Hi friends, I'm Jason Teed, owner of JMT Choreography. I'm so glad you guys are watching this series I've called Warrior Woman. Alright, let me break it down. So I've traveled the world in my professional and my personal life, and there's been one common thing throughout the whole thing. I have met and traveled with the most amazing, life-changing women. I even realized that every gym I do choreography for is owned by a female. So in this series, I sit down with warrior women and I ask them questions about life, cheerleading, and empowerment, and so much more. I hope you guys enjoy, but make sure you guys subscribe. I'll wait. Subscribe. Enjoy the interview.
Can you see me?
I can see you. How have you been doing during everything?
Been doing great, trying to stay positive, trying to, kind of think outside of the box and, try to keeping kids engaged and motivated and the staff as well. But we've been doing great. I mean, I can't, it's as good as it's going to get right now.
Right. And everyone's in the same boat. So
Exactly.
tell us about your gym or business and what you would consider to be your mission.
Okay, so the name of my gym is East Celebrity Elite. I'll refer to it as ECE because it's like more than a mouthful. But our mission is that we want to provide an environment for the children to be able to grow and to watch their journey as they start from either young kids or middle school, or even if they start at high school, and to just prepare them and give them some life lessons along the way, included with cheerleading. I mean, everybody loves to win, and, all-star gyms are no different. We compete to win. But some of the best things that I've seen happen through my career aren't just the banners and trophies. It's watching that little shy kid come into the gym and then, blossom into this very outgoing, child. And it was funny. We did a little thing with our kids where at the end of the year, we have them do essays and stuff for our seniors. And some of our seniors that graduated last season were 3-time world champs. And when you looked at all of their essays of what they would say to the younger generation that was, doing all-star cheer, and, you go through those times where you feel like you might need a season off or whatever. None of them ever talked about winning anything, which I was very, kind of proud of. It never came up like, well, you want to be a world champ like me. Never. It was all about what it's taught me, what it's helped me through. And that's our mission, is to try to, get kids to be part of something bigger than cheerleading.
I love that. That means you're doing it right. When you read
Right.
letters like that, that's when you know that you're doing it right. Yes, we all love winning, and that's the whole purpose of sports. But at the end of it, it's anyone who was in a sport, whatever sport it is, it was all the life lessons that you learned growing up from it. It really is. How do you think All-Star Cheerleading and other women-run businesses empower the female youth?
I think that, like you said, so many of gyms, not all of them, I mean, we have lots of males as well that own gyms, but I think, all of the coaches and tumbling staff and owners, when young girls get to see women in a position of being an owner, being a head coach, being a trainer, even being a student coach, when they look up to those, when the little tinies look up to those, student demonstrators that we use that might be from our senior 3 team or our senior 4, senior 5, whatever level. I think they look at that and say, that's my role model. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to do. I think when they can see more and more women being in those roles, it gives them the drive to be able to want to emulate what they're seeing and what they're coaching, who their coaches are. And, we do a lot of that. We've done, I'm sure, lots of gyms have done this. It's like dress up as your coach day and, act like your coach. And they have them like spot on. Like they
Right.
watch every move and they really look at that. And some of the things that even now in the time what we're going through with this lockdown, some of the things that the kids are writing or the alumni have written in about their coaches or us as owners. I mean, I don't coach anymore, but I'm very, visible to the kids. I think that empowers the kids to say, I can own something. I can do something. I can be in charge. I can be, I can sit on top of the world. I can do that. So I think that's, what I see a lot from our, from my perspective.
Yeah, that's amazing. Leading by example, just showing them the positive way that you could obtain anything that you want and be whoever you want.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and the cheerleading just teaches the hard work in the back end of it, which is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Explain what you do in your personal and professional life to ensure that you're leading by example and making an impact.
Okay, so this is super important to me. I lead by example all the time. I am not, I use my social media for my business only. You will very rarely see me post anything personal on there. Maybe when my daughter got married, you'd see a few pictures. I don't really take a stance on things either way, like anything political or anything like that. I try to be extremely positive. And I'm a rule follower. I'm old school. I'm old. So I am a rule follower. I always have been. I'm kind of a goody-goody. So whatever I'm told to do, whether I agree or disagree with a rule that comes down by anybody or at a competition, if this is the rule, then this is the rule. And I think that our staff looks up to that and they take our lead. And I think our kids look up to our staff. And we are very much like, on our staff and on of our kids on the way that they are perceived when they put that uniform on. Or when I'm wearing a sweatshirt that has the name of my gym on it. So I am always I'm very good with talking to the parents a lot. Like I'm the one that will go in and kind of, talk to the parents, sit in the parents' room one day, kind of just chit chat with them, make them feel like I want to be approachable. Mm-hmm. And I want them to know that, I'm not just the owner of the gym, but I care about what they do, what their kids do and what they're going through. I also think that the way you handle your families, and especially during a time like this, I think that says a lot about how you become a role model in what you do. You can do a lot of things right. Listen, we've done a lot of things maybe that, we thought about and said, maybe, that wasn't the right way. But you live and you learn. And I think from being in the industry for so long, we've learned a lot of what is the right thing to do. And we are very good about, being on the straight and narrow and doing what we feel is right. I always look at it as I have 2 children. Is this something that I would want my child to emulate? And I always look at that. If I think that this is good for my child, then it's good for their child. And I want to be that role model that the kids come to and they say, I want to be like her, or I want to be like my coach, Kayla, or I want to be like my coach, whoever. So that's what I think I do.
I love the little part that you talked about the uniform because I'm very big into that too. It teaches kids that everyone's always looking, but it also teaches kids to be prideful in something. Mm-hmm. Even if they don't have it yet, they don't have the self-esteem yet, it teaches them to be prideful in the family or the community or whatever type of feeling you have in your gym. I love that you said that. That's amazing. Okay, what's one piece of information you wish all girls and young women knew?
I think one piece of information I would want them to know is to never let anybody tell you that you can't achieve something. My own daughter, my oldest daughter did not cheer. She was a dancer. My younger daughter was not, things didn't come easy to her skill-wise. Okay. So she always wanted to, every year she would be on one team and her friends would move up to the next level and she didn't. And every year she would, we'd go through this. I was the parent then and not the gym owner. And she went through a lot of things and she was like, why is everybody else moving up and I'm not, right. Sorry, I know you're the gym owner's daughter, but you just can't move up. And finally, I kept saying, I told her, these are the things you need to, don't give up. And she carried that through college with her. And even in college, the first year she made the more skillful team. They had an all-girl and a co-ed. She made one year. The second year, she made the second team. And her coach, who was wonderful, wrote her a beautiful letter and said, you were a bubble kid. And she wrote back to her. And I was so proud of her because she said, I've been a bubble kid all my life. She said, and it's okay. It just makes me work harder. And I know what I need to do to be able, I'm just proud to be on any team, on any level. She was like, that's what my mother taught me. So that to me is what I want kids to see. I don't want kids to think that everything is about being on that level team. I don't want kids to think that we try so hard in our gym to make sure every kid gets the same opportunities. You know, we get asked every year to perform at the Boston Celtics basketball pregame show. Every year they ask us. So you know what? Most people will be like, sure, you know, let your world's team go. No, we've had the minis go. We've had our junior 3 team go. It doesn't matter. I want every kid to have the same, that same experience. You know, and that experience doesn't necessarily mean being, you know, the best or whatever. I want every kid to be recognized for something, you know, that they do well, because I just think it gives them the self-confidence that they need, you know, in their life. There's so many things with social media now. I'm just glad I did not grow up in the social media age, because it's tough out there for these kids.
It is.
Conversations with parents who are, you know, going through the bullying and it's heartbreaking. And I just want to be able to let kids know, you know what, don't give up on what you think you want to do because somebody else tells you can't do it or you're not good enough. Just keep working hard.
Right. Hard work does pay off.
It does.
And if you keep doing it and keep at it, it always pays off. It always definitely pays off.
Exactly.
And I mean, I've been in this cheerleading world for a while. So I started in 2003 before there were levels. So I totally agree with the whole level situation. It doesn't matter what, the whole idea is cheerleading, and that's what we love, is cheerleading. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what level you're on, because when I started, there were no levels. I just loved the sport of cheerleading, and I was like, I'm excited just to do this. And I feel like we're going to get back to that, because everyone's going to more realize that when you don't have something, how much you really love it.
Exactly. I remember the first year we had an all-star gym. The division was senior. That was it. It was senior. And, you know, you went to NCAA and there were, I don't know, 50 teams in your division and you just hoped you weren't number 50. That's it, you know. And now it's a lot different. But I think the kids, you know, I think educating the athletes and the parents is extremely important, because I'm noticing now we do our end of the year, like kind of like a parent teacher conference, but we do a parent coach conference, and we ask them, and I'm starting to see that it's really the education of the athlete and the parent is so important, because now they're like, I'm like, what's your goal for next year? You know, where would you like to, if you could pick which team you were going to be on? And they'll be like, well, I'm on level 3. I would love to be on level 4, but I think I need to improve on these things for my level 3 so I can be one of the strongest kids on junior 3. Like, that's what we're trying to, and it's like, when I hear that, I'm like, okay, we did our job.
Right.
You know, they don't want to be, I think when the level started, the parents got very hung up, as well as we did, and coaches, you know, oh, you know, we got to push them to the next level and push them to the next level. And that's what they want. But I think parents now, and I don't blame them, they want to see their kids be part of every part of the routine. And they want them to be completely involved and not just the best tumbler, you know? So I think the education is important.
Yeah, I think the education of just the all-star world in general, because I feel like us coaches were like, we were so obsessed with it, but we just kept it in this little bubble. And they're like, yeah, I send my kid to cheerleading. I mean, this is years ago. But now, I mean, it's getting so big. People who don't even have kids in cheerleading know what all-star cheerleading and cheerleading is now, because of the Netflix series and just ESPN and all the coverage. So it's like, if we educate them, then more people are going to know about this amazing world that we get to live in.
I agree, 100%.
Ooh, one of my favorite questions. How do you think we can go by changing the stigma associated with cheerleading?
I think that that's a tough one. I thought about this for a long time. I think about it a lot, because I think it still does exist, as much as we try not to. I think the more that we can get out in front of people showing what we do, and on social media and everything else, I think that if we show the other side of cheerleading as well, I mean, you know, it's very frustrating when, you know, you're like, oh, you know, you're a cheerleader, or, you know, sometimes you even hate to tell people, like, oh, so what do you do? And you say, oh, I own a gym, and they think, you know, I own, you know, Gold's Gym or
right.
And then when I tell them, and then, you know, they start doing, you know, the little chant.
Yeah, this thing. Yeah.
No, that's it. But I think, you know, getting the kids in community service, doing things like we do, like, you know, when we do that pregame at the Boston Celtics, it is such a great thing, because the kids get to show people that some of them have never been exposed to this, and we'll get people come up to us and be like, oh my gosh, they are so athletic. And I think that's what we're trying to get across to people. Not so much that, we have these, great uniforms and we look great and, but we want to show the athleticism. And I think by doing some community outreach projects and being seen in the community. I mean, we try to we get calls all the time we try to go to as many of those as we can to let people see what we really do. It's not just about posting pictures on social media and taking selfies with our glitzy uniforms on, but it's very athletic. I think the cheerleading industry has really done a good job with that in the last few years with social media and what they're posting. Yeah. And the ads even in magazines. I see a little change in that, going more towards the athleticism. And I think it's just how much you put your kids out there into other aspects instead of just watching about going to competitions and doing a good job and getting zero deductions. It's more than that. It has to be how the outside world perceives what you do to be able to get more people involved in the sport. And I think when they see that, they're like, wow, this is tough. And I think you had mentioned the Netflix series with Navarro, and I know I had family members that watched it that had never been to a cheerleading competition, or friends of mine from high school that, never knew anything. They know what I do, but they don't really know the whole thing. And I think that opened up, I think that was such a positive experience. Mm-hmm. It made people really look at it and say, wow, that's hard. That is incredible what these kids endure. I know my son-in-law got so hooked on it with my daughter who did not cheer her whole life. And he was calling me and he kept asking me questions. He's like, oh my gosh, okay, what happens when they go to Daytona? And, and I was like, listen, just watch the series. And my daughter called me and she's like, okay, I think I'm living with you. As we're watching this, he's yelling, okay, stick it. Okay, make sure. Oh gosh, you can't fall. And he's yelling at the screen. He knows nothing about this. And the funny thing about the whole thing was, at the end, I watched one of the episodes with him, and he was like, "This is what you do?" And I was like, "Similar." And he's like, Can we go to a competition and watch? He goes, this is so exciting. He goes, I literally was nervous for them when they were competing. And to see somebody that knows nothing about cheerleading, but just that one series brought so much positive attention to the sport was fantastic. It was done well. It was filmed well. It was real. I know some people were, kind of maybe a little bit upset with how many injuries it showed and things like that, but it's real. It's what we do. Unfortunately, it's a sport, kind of, and it is a spectator sport, I always call it, but it's an athletic activity that any kind of athletic activity you do, you run that risk. But I thought it was a great way I'd love to see more of that, in the media. Yeah,
the Netflix series was amazing, and the amazing part of it is because, I want to go back to where you said using your social media and using it the correct way, is that the whole series, the director did such an amazing job, but the whole series is not Daytona. No. The whole series is the progress of getting to Daytona. The every day, the month to month, the 6, 7, 8 months that we train that no one sees on Facebook, and then we just start posting photos in January or December when we start competing. But really, everyone got hooked because of the work and the progression and how much they had. So when you got to that comp, everyone was super excited. So I feel, like you said, if we start showing more of the everyday athleticism of it, people are going to get more hooked because they're going to be like, girl, that team put in so much extra hours. I hope that they stay in, but they don't need to have that relationship of cheerleading like we do. They can actually be a spectator of it. So
I think the other thing that we try to do, and I know a lot of other gyms try to do it too, I think when you are advertising for your gym or when you are showing pieces of your routines, on your pages or whatever you're doing for social media, I think it's really important that you don't always show the most advanced routines.
Agreed.
Because what happens is I try to do this even on like informational flyers that we send out. When you show a picture, when you show a video of kids doing, a kick double basket, and you're showing that to people that have never been involved in cheerleading, the first thing that I'm gonna, oh, my kid can't do that. Oh boy, that's
Well, I
crazy.
could never do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally going, I would never do that.
So I think that we try to show a lot of our younger kids that entry level, because that's where you want to get the kids in, and that's where you want them to see that this is that takes many years of practice and learning. And if we're only going to show the heel stretch up by their ear and that beautiful straight leg scorpion, you kind of almost send a message to people like this is almost too hard. Like where does my 6-year-old fit into your gym?
Right.
So I think that the way you show your gym and your cross section of people and ages and abilities, you want to show everybody, not just that that Worlds or Summit or US Final, whatever championship you won team. You want to show every single level and every single age.
And to go off that, most people don't know what you won. If they don't know what cheerleading is, they're like, I won Summit or I won this. They're like, they don't know the caliber of it. They just think that you got a first place at a competition. So why to people who don't know cheerleading, why would you advertise that? Advertise the life lessons, the things that we've been growing our industry on, which is amazing.
Exactly.
I mean, you've pretty much answered this question throughout the entire interview, but what are a few things that you might have forgotten? Why do you love the cheerleading world so much?
I think that I love it because it gives me and everybody that works with us an opportunity to really be part of every kid's journey in life. I love to see the kids, whether they started at 4 years old on Tinies, or they started at 15 years old on a senior 2 team, or they came 1 year and they were on a senior 4 team at age 17. It gives us a chance to be part of their life and to watch their journey. And I think, for me, it's so gratifying to see a kid come in the beginning of the year and then the end of the year, and to hear parents and kids that have struggled either in school or with friends or they're shy, or they've got things going on at home and that aren't always the greatest, and to have them come back and tell you what a positive impact you were in their life. Nothing's better than that, when you feel like you've impacted somebody in a positive way, and sometimes you don't even know you're doing it, but to watch that and to see kids grow up in your program. And now I look at kids that are graduating this year that I've had since they were, it's heartbreaking to see them leave, but in the same breath, it's great to see where their next journey is. And even though we're a large gym, we still keep in contact. I mean, we have a great alumni page that we still keep in touch with all of our kids, and they come back and they visit and everything. And to watch them and see the jobs they're getting and how successful they've been. And when they say, I love to see the kids that send me pictures of the 4 friends from high school that are now at one of their friends' weddings, and they reenact that picture, when they're 24 or 27, and you what? There's so many friendships that were made and so many memories that were made within our 4 walls that really are those friendships that stay with kids their whole life. They're at their weddings, their baby showers, their bridal showers, they're at every event. And that's really special. You don't get that when, you work in a retail store. You don't get that when you're working in a cubicle in a great company. You don't get that experience. So, it's almost like it's not a job, because you enjoy, every day is different. Every day is different. Every kid is different. Every kid's journey is different. So for us, it's extremely gratifying.
Yeah, I just love seeing. I was actually invited to one of my first weddings of one of the kids that I coached, and just seeing all the friends that she still were friends with, and I was like, you all met at cheerleading. And what's great about all-star cheerleading and a lot of travel sports is that sometimes you don't find friends in their schools, and because we are a mixture of so many different parts of that city, of that area, that you can really find a true friend in that gym because you get to see more people, which is wonderful.
Well, when I started coaching, I coached high school. And when I
Okay.
started coaching high school, what I noticed too, which I find it's very nice, because when I coached high school, there were no all-star teams. When I first was coaching high school, everybody cheered for high school, they cheered for college, or they cheered for their town, their town league. So I met a good friend of mine who is now my business partner and who owns the gym with me, one of them, and she was at the rival high school. So we cheered against each other. She had, coached before me, and she came up and introduced herself to me, and we became very good friends. And our teams went head to head every single competition. And, we used to joke and say, could you imagine if we could take the best kids from your team and the best kids from my team, and we could, make this. And then I went to a competition and with my high school team, and happened to go in a different room and saw Top Gun competing. And I called her and I was like, remember what we talked about? Like, this really happens. Like, this is a thing. So we started having, our all-star team. We had lots of tryouts to put together our first team, small little junior team. And what we noticed was it was mostly kids from all of the surrounding youth programs. And it was so, back in the day, when you cheered at your rival high school, you did not like those other people. Like, that was your arch
They're rivals for a reason, right? Yeah.
Goodness, you did not, you wouldn't wear that color, you wouldn't do anything. So now we have this all-star team, and we have kids from, 5, 6, 7, 10 different towns. What we noticed is when they would start competing against each other with the youth program, they were all hugging each other, like they cheered together on an all-star team. Well, the whole dynamic, even in high school, the whole dynamic of cheerleading kind of changed a little bit. It wasn't this, oh, you're from that high school. They would be cheering each other on while the other team was competing and cheering for their friends from their all-star team. So I think it brought a lot of camaraderie to the sport itself, where back in the day it was like, oh, we don't like them. You don't know why you don't like them just because they have a different uniform on. But it was a rivalry. And now I think that's all kind of gone by the wayside, which is great. I see the kids in high school. I judge a lot of high school competitions, and I'll see our kids. They're cheering on the team that's going up against them for that first place trophy, and they're cheering for their friends from their gym. And they're yelling it for them on the side, and it's great. It's great for the sport. It's great for kids, and it's great for kids to have the opportunity to meet kids outside of their town. I think it prepares them for college. I think it prepares them for life, for work jobs. It's not just, when we grew up, I only knew the people in my town. That's all. That we knew that group of people. And then you went to college, you're like, ooh, there's a lot of things out there. So I think that's been great for the sport. I think the All-Star industry has brought a lot of that. Even you see it on All-Star. You see kids cheering on other All-Star teams. They're in a different uniform, and they have friends on a different team, and they're right up there cheering for them. So it's wonderful to see that.
Yeah, I feel like at one point, all the cheerleaders just decided, like, we all have something in common. We love this sport, and if someone's not going to cheer for us, we're going to cheer for each other. Because I definitely felt that happen through, because I was a high school cheerleader beforehand, so I was early 2000s is when I was in high school. And I feel like that's when it started changing, because that's when All-Star was starting to grow up, and that's when All-Star was starting to actually come into, not just the coast states, but actually in the Midwest and getting spread out, which was, thank God for me, because I actually got to be at All-Star gym. Because in my state, boys aren't allowed to compete. So boys aren't allowed.
Still?
Yeah. Still, yeah.
Oh, that's awful. That's not good. That's not good.
No, it's not. Advice for all the cheerleaders out there during this difficult time.
Stay positive. This too shall pass. Yes. We are going to come out stronger. We're going to come out hungrier. I think, just looking at what's going on within our gym, and we've been in touch with them, quite often, and they're just eager to get back. And I think it's going to put in perspective, we never realized how much we loved the sport until it was taken away from us. And I think what I realized myself is how much we take for granted. Every kid has done it. Every owner has done it. Oh, God, I wish to God we have competition this week, and I have so much to do at home. And God, I wish I didn't have to go to the kid is going, oh, I have so much homework. I wish I didn't have to go to the gym. And now I think we're realizing our life without the sport is a lot. I think
Boring?
we
Boring?
a lot more boring. I think kids didn't realize how much they really loved not only the sport, but being around their friends, seeing their coaches, being in those four walls. I mean, our parents are like, we'll do any, like, they just need to come back. I mean, even if some of them have just been driving by the building, and just waving and just feeling like they can't wait to get in there. And I think that I try to tell everybody. I know I've spoken to so many gym owners, and you have your days where you really feel beat up, and where we're in the Northeast, we're getting hit pretty hard over here. So I try to find the silver lining in everything, trying to stay positive, trying to keep our staff positive, trying to keep the kids positive. We all come across obstacles in our life. Life is not easy.
No,
and
it's
if
not.
it was, you would not be as strong as you are. And I was brought up that way. Disappointments make you stronger. I don't know how strong they want us to be, but we're pretty strong right now.
We're going to be the Hulks of cheerleading.
We are going to be the Hulks of cheerleading. But I think that the kids are going to come back, and they're going to be so much more engaged. And I think to tell them that we're ready. Like, we're ready to come back. We're ready to get back to some kind of normalcy. It's not going to be the same right away. It's going to be a process. There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be things, but that's with everything. That's in a regular season. You have a regular season, somebody gets injured, somebody leaves, somebody has to move, their family moves. You adapt. We have to learn how to adapt and come out on top and come out stronger than when it first started. And I think the industry will. I think if everybody can stay focused and positive, and no matter how small we start and how much, we'll get back there.
Yeah, but to watch the industry, I mean, I've talked to a bunch of my friends. Most of my friends are not in the industry, and I mean, they're hairdressers, so they've been putting out videos and stuff, and I've been telling them like all the stuff that our industry has been producing just everywhere, all over the place. They're like, really? And I'm like, girl, when we can't cheer, we will find a way to cheer. Okay.
I think that it has forced us to think outside of the box, which is great, because I think the industry is filled with so many creative people. And I think what I also appreciate so much is being able to call, I just talked to Orson from Twist and Shout last night on the phone. I knew he was able to open, and sharing ideas with him. We've put together some virtual training for our kids. We've had so many other gym owners willing to swap material. We've had, other gyms say, hey, listen, we'll give you this video I'll do one video for you, you give me one. And just to be helping each other out and making sure that we all survive this, which we will, everybody's willing to help. And you're right, you don't see that in every industry. You don't see that. And I think people, even in our own little area in the Northeast, like, we've been having Zoom meetings with all of the gym owners in our area, and we're like, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? And, we're sharing ideas. I want every gym to survive. I want every gym to come out of this on top. This isn't about, being the biggest or the best or having the most kids or the less kids. This is about making sure everybody's business comes out on top and these kids can still be part of their gym. I think we've done a really good job with that in our industry. And that's something to be proud of. I really feel that people have really gone above and beyond for each other, and that's nice to see. And I think that we're a spirit organization. Like, that's what we are, we're people that build each other up. So that's what you have to continue, especially in a time like this, especially when people feel beat down. I have some small gyms in my area, and people will call me, and and I feel like it's my job to try to say, hey, listen, here's the good part. Let's not dwell on the negative. These are the good things that are going to happen. How are your pre-registrations? Oh my God, they're great. Yes, because people just want to get back. Let's look at the good things. So that's what we do. Just stay positive. And that's what we're telling the kids. The kids have been great. It concerns me, every kid handles adversity different. Mm-hmm. So, I made it my mission when this started, even though I'm a large gym, that since I had so much time on my hands, I was going to take each team, and every day I allotted to a team, and I reached out to every parent on that team through like Facebook Messenger, and I just to check in, just to see how you doing. how's everything going? Hope you're staying safe and busy. And, and they just needed a time to vent. And everybody was so gracious. They're like, oh, thank you for just to, keep them positive and let them know we're still thinking about you. You're still there. You're still on our radar. We're not going anywhere. So that was great. That kept me very busy. And it was nice to see all of the positive feedback and how their kids were handling it and how much their kids missed being in the gym. And, every kid's handling it. If there was one kid I had to reach out to, maybe myself personally, who was struggling a little more, then you do that.
But that's what we love to do. And that's why we're in this industry. So
Exactly.
So, well, we have one last question, but I'm pretty sure you already answered it. What are you most excited for next season? I mean, you've said a lot already, but
I'm just excited to get back in the gym.
Yes, agreed.
Any expectations? I just want to get back in the gym. And let me tell you, there were days I was like, how much longer can I do this job? I'm getting old, and now it's just giving me like a renewed, burst of energy. I think, it gives us time to sit. We've spent a lot of time on preparing on how that, this next phase is going to go and what's going to happen. I think we're looking forward to getting back to some kind of normalcy, getting the kids back in a routine, getting the kids back excited about the sport, and trying to think. I think it's great that we've had to think outside of the box. If you had told me in January that we would be doing virtual stretching and jumping and tumbling classes, I would have told you you're crazy. But it makes you think outside of the box, and it makes you that much, better of a coach and a gym owner, and, just to get those creative juices flowing. And our staff, I mean, I just have to give them all I couldn't do it without them. They've just been amazing at what they have done and what they have created for these kids and how engaged they are with the kids, and what I've seen from gyms across the country. It's amazing. It's just simply amazing. Some of them aren't even working. They're not getting paid or whatever their situation is, and they're still passionate about being with the kids. And that's what we're just looking forward to seeing them walk through the door. That's what I'm most excited about. Just opening the doors, getting the lights on, getting them in there, and having them do what they love to do. That's all.
Well, to go off the amazingness, thank you for being amazing, and thank you so much for doing this. This was so much fun.
So welcome. I enjoyed it. I really am honored to be part of this, and I thank you for doing this, and it's great. I mean, I'm super excited about it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. You guys, wasn't she amazing? I had so much fun working on this project, and I have so many more videos to show you. So you know what I'm going to say. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. And make sure you guys follow me on Instagram for all the up-to-date posts. Until next time, bye.